off as per usual. Major League Rugby is back, yo. We had a great first weekend, man. Let's talk about this, man. Like this was one I think is one of the most anticipated weekends for rugby, for Major League Rugby, in the now seventh season that it's been around. 7 seasons through the pandemic, continuing the struggles, but we are still here. Major League Rugby is still absolutely here, and it's a great one because we have some new teams that absolutely came in. Obviously, added 3 expansion teams in the Miami Sharks, the Los Angeles Rugby Club, and the Anthem Carolina, Anthem Charlotte Club, in Charlotte, North Carolina. All right, so obviously, to kick off this, we had to do a little bit memorable. Let's go down the scores that happened for this week. One, shout out to my NOLA Gold, absolutely doing what they're supposed to do, getting the win over the longtime rivalry, which isn't really a rivalry because NOLA Gold has beat them all but like one time since their inception. And that one time was literally last year. New Orleans beating them 18-6 at home. Houston SaberCats able to protect their house 22-15 against the Utah Warriors. Seattle Seahawks, these guys are coming up as a powerhouse and returning back to form, winning a nail biter of a game 25-19 against the San Diego Legion. Miami Sharks hosting their first game in a really soppy mess, and we're going to talk about that. Unfortunately, not able to open up with a strong one, going in 19-23, losing to Chicago Hounds. Anthem Rugby opened up at home to a crowd of, I think they said like 2,700 people, against the reigning champions, New England Free Jacks, losing 13-46. Give them credit where credit is due. They got that 13. And then the RFC Los Angeles dropping a heartbreaker of one to open up against Dallas Jackals at home at way night, man. West Coast timing on these were not good, but losing 29-32. Shout out to the Jackals for getting their first opening win since their existence. And Leo, like this one was one of those where I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be too harsh about this one because I'm making a promise to myself to not be overly critical of the MLR because I think it's kind of becoming a trend, and I don't want that to be a trend. I think there's good things, and again, you're in the 7th season, so you got some things going on. I will throw some critiques, but I'm gonna throw some praises first. Number one, I want to say, man, love the fact that New England Free Jacks came out on pure fire. Pure fire. It's like they picked up right where they left off with the championship team. That is another contender where you just are like, yo, this team is stacked, absolutely stacked. They're going to do some amazing things without a doubt. And in that situation, they absolutely proved it up against freaking Anola, against Anthem. Which, again, tough outing. Again, Anthem is coming in. They are trying to be able to establish, obviously, if you don't remember, the Anthem are the World Rugby, USA Rugby partnered, created team that is going to be helping with USA Rugby Eagles developmental players to be able to get more action going on with that. So, tough game for them to go into, but, man, I loved it. That one was, obviously, it's a complete blowout, but that was worth watching New England be able to come out strong. Other games, Seattle and San Diego, 2 other powerhouses. I love the fact that Seattle's coming out strong after so many years, really 2 of the last 4 years. Like Seattle just had been kind of struggling, to kind of see them coming back into form like they were the first 2 seasons that they were in existence, 2018, 2019. I like seeing that they're a powerhouse. San Diego coming out with some strength. Another big surprise, Houston. Again, that was a team that was a big dark horse last year. It kind of flopped towards the end of the season, but man, I love that they did. Warriors were a good team. I think they're doing what they need to. I love the fact New Orleans, like I said, I'm always going to be supportive of NOLA Gold. They came out and they set themselves up slowly in the first half, but they set themselves up to at least have a campaign where they're starting off on a win. Again, a team that's been struggling the last couple years. I'm glad to see them coming back into their own. And then, of course, like I said, Dallas Jackals, I'm glad to see them finding their rhythm as a team, albeit they were able to be advantaged by 4 yellow cards by RFC LA. But like, hey man, you got to give credit where credit is due. They got the win again, being the former expansion team, to be able to show out and say, oh, as an expansion team, you need to understand who's baby brother out here. I'm glad Dallas was able to do it to formerly Atlanta, now LA, as their team for it. So, look, we're gonna let me talk. Okay, the critiques that I had. All right, number one, man, Miami. Well, we got to do something about that broadcast, y'all. I'll actually put a lot of responsibility on Miami. I know it was an absolute storm of a game. Welcome to hurricane season. It's not really quite hurricane season, but it's Florida. There's always hurricane season, especially whenever climate is all jacked up and uncertain at this point. But you had you had Miami Sharks team that just wasn't able to swim in this one. I have so much expectation from the team, not necessarily from a winning standpoint, but from an entertainment standpoint. And I really thought that they were going to bring out all the markers with it, like they were going to really roll out the red carpet. And I'm sure maybe the Storms played a little bit because there's rain delay and it can throw off your scheduling and everything like that. But man, they didn't open up. It was such a dreary opening. Great crowd. It looked like from the video, but like just so dreary. I thought they were going to come out with music, hit that Latin behavior, like enter into Miami with the flavor of Argentina or a flavor of Cuba, or, really bring out that element. Even if they were playing in Fort Lauderdale, like you really have an opportunity to like come out with a bang, because I don't expect them to win a lot of games because it's cohesion. Like it takes time. But like, I did expect them to just come out with flair and favor, and they just did not. They did not. And, Chicago Hounds did what they needed to do in a close one, 23-19. You do what you got to do. But I really was hoping for that. And that was just kind of the same with all the expansion teams. LA, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that there was like nobody inside that stadium. There was literally like no, like if there were, the cameras did not catch any of it. But it was a later game for the West Coast. Obviously, it was like a 11 o'clock game on Sunday for the East Coast, and God forbid here in Brazil. But like, when you have cities this big, especially whenever you're trying to set the marker, I really expect that you're supposed to like really bring that full fire and absolutely give an energy that goes along with it. I think the NRL did something like that with Las Vegas, and obviously we'll talk about that a little bit later. But like, bruh, you're in LA and you still kind of just like, you just come into it. I'm a little sad about that one. And then even with the anthem, I think the anthem actually brought a lot more energy, probably because of the fact that New England Free Jacks were there. But I felt like that one had an energy, maybe not to the extent that like it was an entertainment behemoth, but it's also Charlotte. Like, Charlotte has a lot, but it's not like an entertainment hub. So whenever you're not an entertainment hub, I don't expect you to have that same capability. But I would have liked those expansion teams to really smack us in the face, especially in season 7, whenever there's things that are established. But in terms of full broadcast, I think it was legit. Like I said, that Hounds Miami game, horrible game, but it's good kind of start off. This is a good start to the season. The other one, I did worry with the anthem being that this is a USA development team. Obviously, they went against the best of the best in MLR, man. What's his name? The fullback, McDonald, I think, the guy from New Zealand, the redhead from New Zealand, absolutely just snatching balls out the air. So I give a little bit of leeway for the anthem to be able to, again, get themselves together, be able to customize. Like, these are young. This is the youngest team, I think, in the MLR right now. So they have to acclimate very strongly to what is going to be happening with all these veteran players from other countries to be able to compete. But I have high hopes. I'm not giving up on them, just not the greatest start. But again, there wasn't that much expectation. But let me know what you guys think, man. What's your thoughts on what was going on with the MLR? How do you feel like this one opened up for you? Because this was a big weekend. Like, there was a lot of rugby that happened. Super Rugby, MLR, URC was back, NRL, freaking HSB7s. Like, we went coast to coast rugby. I don't think there's been this much rugby from a high level at the same time that all mattered in a very long time. I'm not going to even hit all of them, but like it was significant, man. I love it. So let me know what your guys' thoughts were when it came to MLR on this one.